Hey, I'm Amanda from Trifecta Fitness. We're proud to be Clarksville's new Get Fit headquarters. Trifecta Fitness is a state-of-the-art spin and strength training studio. Our spin studio is truly one of a kind in this area, complete with 20 state-of-the-art live fitness bikes and an incredible sound system. Our strength training is done in small groups of 6 or fewer, and all of our strength and spin classes are scalable for every level of experience. Come see us in the heart of Clarksville, just behind MAPCO at the corner of Old Trenton Road and Wilma Rudolph Boulevard. Call us for more info at 931-542-6265 or download our Trifecta Fitness app for a full list of upcoming classes.
Hello, my name is Damon Friedman, co-founder and president of SOF Missions. As a 20-year veteran within Special Operations, I've gone through many challenges due to my military service and time in combat. We felt called to start SOF Missions to serve our fellow brothers and sisters in arms, focusing on suicide prevention and resiliency. Our mission at SOF Missions is to empower warriors to find purpose and be resilient. Since 2011, when we started the organization, almost 3 million men and women have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. Unfortunately, the scars of war take a toll on their psychological, physical, social, and spiritual health. Many veterans feel a sense of hopelessness and a loss of purpose when they return to civilian life. They feel isolated and alone, unable to reconnect. And in the greatest of tragedies, over 20 veterans lose all hope and take their own lives. Our goal at SOF Missions is to provide veterans the tools and resources so that they don't become a statistic. We offer a unique approach to combating veteran suicide through a whole health, intradisciplinary model. The Be Resilient program is a 4-pillar methodology that addresses the areas of psychological, physical, social, and spiritual wellness. We provide care through 3 delivery methods: medical clinics, retreats, and educational training. Since we started back in 2011, we have been able to reach veterans in all 50 states and have served over 3,000 veterans through the Be Resilient program. Being resilient is a multifaceted and complex issue. We know that to find a lasting solution, we have to address the whole warrior. Many challenges cannot be solved by providing the treatments and modalities of just one component, but by tackling them all. Now, we've expanded our services to include law enforcement and first responders. Together, we can make a lasting impact in the lives of warriors across the nation. To learn more, visit our website at sofmissions.org.
For your post assignment, all units proceed to your post assignment.
All right. Welcome back. MisFitNation, the MisFitNation show. We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_MisFitNation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All All right. Welcome back to the MisFitNation show. I'm Rich LaMonica, your host and founder of the show. And today we have, we went almost a week without losing a law enforcement officer. And tonight we bring you two that we lost. First, we lost police officer Felicia D. Riley, St. Paul Police Department, Minnesota, end of watch Saturday, March 1st, 2025. And yesterday, 2 days ago, Detective Joseph Azcona, Newark Police Division, New Jersey, end of watch Friday, March 7th, 2025. He was shot by a 14-year-old kid with an automatic pistol before he even get out of the vehicle to even confront the kid and his friends. The kid was arrested. I believe the kid was shot as well. His partner was shot too, not life-threatening, in the hospital still. So keep those both officers, friends, family, police departments in your thoughts and prayers, and let's keep trying to do the right thing out there and not pull a gun and maybe just talk to each other. You can always finish things with talking without killing each other. There are better ways to go through life. As this is the month military women's history month, March, I am telling you to go watch Guerrera on Amazon. You can, I think it's $7.99. Watch the whole series. It's a great show, a great documentary about the development of the cultural support teams that were attached to the soft teams. So if you have a chance, watch Guerrera and celebrate those warriors as they went to battle. Tonight we have a good one. We have Chris Squared coming on, and the two of them are the founders of Echoes of Asgard, a new TV series coming out, and they're going to talk to us about their history, why they started this, and where they're going from here. So without further ado, let's welcome Chris and Chris. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Outstanding.
Awesome. So like I told you before we went in, I put you back in the green room there, the pseudo green room. I said, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves a little more than I will. So whichever one of you two want to start, give a quick, from as far back as you want to go to how we got here, and then pass it off.
Yeah, I'll let Chris go first. I went first last time.
Throwing me in the spot. So I've been following a lot of Norse paganism, so a lot of the Norse pantheon. And for those of you that are watching that don't know, there's typically your Odin, Thor, Loki, and many other gods as well. Just Marvel kind of puts them in a different light because they're doing it Marvel's way, not the Norse mythology way. So the stories are still fantastic, and they really embody each emotion that surrounds us every single day. And I wanted to kind of channel that and create a TV series that can kind of give people an eye opener to kind of see their perspectives. And be able to relate to the show more than anything. And it was a tough one. It was a challenging one to get started, but I did start the pilot script and got as much as I possibly could going before I said, I need help with this one. This is a big project. And then I went to East Texas and met up with Chris, and we hit it off. We had a great conversation. He said, "I got you, man. We're gonna rock this through."
Awesome, Chris Squared.
Yeah, so I'm a Army and law enforcement vet. I got severely injured. I basically broke my back and blew my knees out, and they said, "Hey, you ain't gonna walk anymore." I said, "Yeah," and I put that big, that one up, and I proved them wrong. So, and anyway, that's just a testament. Just don't give up, guys, gals. Don't give up. Just when you think life's hitting you right square in the face, just dust your legs off and just keep marching on, because it's worth it. Trust me. And I'm glad that I didn't listen to all that nonsense, and I pushed through all the pain and all the tribulations, the troubles, and now we're here today. And I don't I love that I served our country. I helped fight for freedom, so that everybody could be free. Even if I disagree with their freedoms, that's their freedoms. That's their opinions. Let them do it. As long as we don't smash other people's freedoms, then that's the way it ought to be. That's what I fought for. That's what I signed the blank check for. You know, and I had a great time in law enforcement as well. I love helping people, which you see the pattern there. In law enforcement, I got to help so many people, and I had a great time with that. The body, though, did start to tell on me and say, "Hey, you probably should think about this a little bit because your life may be put in jeopardy if you can't be at top form." So after a few years, I decided I better hang that one up. And again, I'm glad I did because, I have a family. I have 6 kids and a beautiful, amazing wife. Most of my kids are adults now. I have a couple teenagers left in the house. Soon they'll be hitting the bricks. I love saying it that way. But anyway, they know I love them and they can stay anytime. But anyway, yeah, so now I'm well, actually I did do a ran for governor in Illinois, and I ended up having to drop right before primaries. My LT had gotten into something and with his wife or something, he had to drop. Long story, but I did learn a lot, and I got quite a following here in Illinois building again. A lot of people asking me if I'm going to run again, and I don't know. But it's definitely it's a beautiful state, and it definitely could take care of itself if it was ran correctly, and we'll get there if we hit that path. But yeah, like Chris said, we kind of skipping way forward. We was at a Viking Mule Festival, and it was in East Texas, in Gladewater, Texas. It was an amazing time. It was typical December Texas weather. It was rainy, cold, but it was a great time. I'm telling you, it didn't dampen anybody there. Like, everybody was just on fire, having fun, and I got to meet with Chris and have quite a good conversation. And I had noticed, he's got something here. He's got something there. So I was like, we got a little more talk involved into it, and yeah, I essentially said, hey, you know what, I would. Well, it was about 2 days later, he called me and said, hey, would you want to partner up with me? And I'm like, well, yeah, let's do it. So anyway, we got together with that, and he's got a great script going for the pilot and more. And I tell you what, we brainstorm together and come up with some beauties, and you guys are gonna love it. I'm telling you, when this thing hits the screens, you're gonna be so glued to it. And you'll go through all these emotions, and that's what I love it. It's just like, it'll take you on the path, the lore, right? What was written about Norse mythology, right? But it'll also have some twists and turns and some emotional roller coasters, which I think is gonna. I'm in love with it, and I've just been reading the script and doing some light of a film with it, and it's great. So because we know it's a struggle. It is a struggle. Anybody that's going through this at all, it's a struggle to go through these hoops that they want you to go through to get into these different streaming platforms and talk to people. At least they have a lot of hoops, it costs a lot of money, and but we're making it happen, and we're actually. I'm very happy about it. I know Chris is as well, about the progress of the show. We're definitely not wanting to rush it, and we definitely want to put it out there on a good note, with some solid backing, because this thing it's a movement, and we've been told that by several what I call bigwigs, that this is a movement. This is more than just a TV series. So we're honored to have that title put on us. But now the real work begins. We have this movement going on, and we do, and we're on social media. I'm Valhalla Viking on social media. He's a Magnus Stormbreaker on TikTok, both of them. I'm on Facebook as well, and a few other places. I think he is too. He'll let you know when he talks about it. But so we kind of brainstormed a little bit, and while we are in this process of getting the main series, the movement put out there, Echoes of Asgard, I said, why don't we just do a light series? Just kind of tell people a little bit about how the series is going to be, but do it in a series format, do it in a show format. So he was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So anyway, I started writing up some scripts for it, and we're just going to lightly put out some of the Echoes of Asgard just to kind of get people ready for it, get people on fire for it. We have a light cast for it as well, and I tell you, those guys and gals are doing amazing work. We got lucky. We got very lucky finding some very good talent on social media, and I think, if anybody's starting out doing this, definitely looking on social media, TikTok especially. I'm telling you, there's a lot of talented people out there on TikTok. So we're doing that. That's going to be dropping really soon. So if anybody's interested, just give me a follow. It's Valhalla Viking 76 over at TikTok, and Magnus Stormbreaker on TikTok as well. But yeah, we're looking forward to doing that. And I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's a crazy roller coaster. It's almost like being in the military again. Like this is how it is. Yeah, hurry up and wait, but now we have to spend money while we're waiting. So, that's just how that goes.
Definitely. Because money is involved with everything. It's the root of all evil, people say, and you have to have it. We all like to have some and have more of it, but you need a lot to do what you guys are doing. And I think you guys had a Kickstarter out there for Echoes of Asgard as well. Hopefully that's doing well. You talked about Loki, and the only movie I ever think of with Loki is Dogma. It's not any of the Marvel anything. It's Dogma, and I see Matt Damon being Loki, and Bartleby, his brother there. So that's what I think of Loki all the time, because I really stopped watching Marvel when they Marveled it up, and when they Hollywooded it up, and so I really strayed away. But that's the Loki I always think of.
Well, then you're definitely going to love Echoes of Asgard, because it does stay true to the gods, how it was written in the lore, and the sagas, and so I like to explain it as you're kind of like a human body. You got the main arteries pumping out the lore, but then we have to come up with veins and smaller conduits, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're in the scripting. He's doing a brilliant job, by the way, and adding some of the. I love it because I got to give him one of these ideas that I've never seen anywhere. And he loved it. So it's getting put in, and I can't talk about it. I don't want to talk about it because I don't want anybody else to take it and run with it, because you know how this business is. Yeah. So I think it's good. Right. Yeah, I bet it is. But yeah, it's just I use the word brilliant, but I'm not using it lightly. I mean, seriously, these are some amazing scripts. It's already been, and he's got certificates from the Writers Guild and things for his first version of it, and it's going beautifully. And I'm very honored to be a part of it, and I'm glad that he asked me.
Outstanding. And when you got injured in the military, was it in a tank, or was it someone tried to run you over with a tank?
Well, yes. Yes. So those tanks, and those tanks, I don't know what kind of language I can use on here, but they're made to hurt people very badly. Okay. And they don't care who gets in the way. It doesn't care anything. You get in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're going to get messed up. And that's kind of what happened. I actually broke my back this is embarrassing. So here it is firsthand. The actual way I hurt myself on the back, I broke the back, is tank was in services. All right. We were in the motor pool in the bay, and all the doors and lids were all open. Everybody, they're working on my tank. And the boots that I had been wearing that day, I don't remember what kind they were, but they had really, really deep tread on them. And I knew I should have just worn my tanker boots, but I didn't want to scuff them up working, so I didn't wear them. I wore these junky old boots. Well, I had 3 points of contact. I was dismounting, and something happened. I slid off, ripped my hand open. I felt like kind of cockeyed on the deck there. Yep, it was a fun time. Yeah,
it's never fun in those tanks. Right after 9/11, I was already in Kuwait when 9/11 happened with the Armor Task Force, actually, and we were doing decon on the tanks as they were coming through, and I had this little chair. And the tank driver always would aim at my chair to try to take it out. So we would spray into their hatches to make sure they got nice and wet during it. It was a fun game of chicken between us and them. It was always a lot of fun with them.
Well, I have a really funny story about the scouts. All right. So I spent most of my time in Germany at Rose Barracks by Vilsik. Actually, that was a really good barracks post, whatever you want to call it. They call it Rose Barracks, so I assume it's just a barracks. But so we would be out of that, and I never say this right, so please excuse me, but Hohenfels, we were out in that area doing some maneuvers and some games or whatnot. But anyway, the scouts, they would always want to come get warm, and they would use the turbine, to get nice and toasty warm. Yeah, oh yeah, they're doing good. Which we love them, by the way. We love you guys. If you're a scout, love you. But we were ornery, right? So that's just how it goes. So we would pop the smoke button, Yeah. And so many people come running out of their coffin, hacking, puking because they got smoked. But it was all for fun. All for fun.
Definitely, it's always fun until someone
It-
gets hurt, of course. But
well, yeah.
and even then,
Right.
it's still kind of fun.
I figured they're scouts. They should be able to see through anything, right? They're badass.
Allegedly, yes.
Right.
We already got a question from the audience that's popped in already, so I will put that person up there at Mythic Warrior 83. What inspired you to take on the role of Odin in Echoes of Asgard? Did your military and law enforcement background influence your approach to the character? Valhalla, I think that's for you.
That is an amazing, awesome question. Thank you for asking. It's weird. So my whole entire damn life, I've always had a extreme thirst for knowledge. I always ask questions. My parents would get angry at me at times because I would always ask somebody, why, how, what does this do? How does this make this work? I would go into detail trying to figure out everything because I want to learn everything. And it's still to this day I do that. And I started my social media thing about a year and a half ago on TikTok and under the name Valhalla Viking. And everybody would come in, like there were so many people, it was unreal. They'd come in and say, Odin, Allfather, and that's just stuck. And it was really cool though, because I do give a lot of advice. I feel like, these gray hairs, they there's a lot of wisdom there.
That's what they say.
Yeah. So, but no, I've always helped people out, being in law enforcement and even in the military, you just help each other out. That's the way it goes. And you help others out. At least I do. And having 6 kids, that really helped too, to gain some knowledge and wisdom.
Gray hairs too.
And a lot, I earned every one of them. So yeah, it was just really cool because everybody called me that. And then all of a sudden Chris is coming up to me and saying, hey, I would love for you to be, that's how it started. He said, I would love for you to play Odin in my show. I'm like, really? And at first, honestly, I thought it was kind of a joke, one of those scams, right? And then a good friend of mine texted me and he said, hey, do you have a guy named Chris that keeps trying to get a hold of you on TikTok? I'm like, yeah. He said, you might want to answer him. He's legit. I'm like, oh. So I did answer him. Yeah, and it was just pretty cool though. It's just, so a short answer to it is I've been called Odin for a long time. And I kind of feel like Odin at times, and especially getting into these roles, this role of Odin and the lines that we have for him, and the lore especially. Man, it just makes you feel like you are becoming or already were, and it's just igniting something that you didn't really know was there until all of a sudden here it is. It's like whoa, and that's kind of how it's happening.
Awesome. Jay Collin, host of my Tuesday show, said he had some tank of friends in Germany that said melting the paint on BMWs on the Autobahn was always a hoot.
Yeah. So right before I got in, like I guess it was a little bit after the Cold War, but they used to, especially during the Cold War era, a lot of the tanks at that time were just the diesels. But I guess when the Abrams first came out, they were still doing maneuvers through towns. And the way that the military had it set up is if a civilian received any kind of damage, they had a form, they just send it into the United States Army, and then they'd pay for it. That's just how it was. So there was a lot of stories going around about how fences, buildings, cars, that would happen. Not on purpose, I wouldn't imagine. I wouldn't see any Army guys doing that. We wouldn't do that.
No,
that's not fun.
Definitely not.
So yeah, and that used to happen, and so melting the paint off Beamers would be pretty cool. Yeah,
probably a lot of fun too to see them get angry and give you that other finger. Yeah.
Agnes, Germany was a lot of fun.
Since you're the creative juices, I guess, and the writer and the developer, did you always have that in your life, writing and stuff, or is something that you just fell into? I want to write and be creative.
For me,
yes.
It was. So I was never one for school anyway, especially not English, and pretty sure my old English teacher could attest to that. But I enjoy stories in general. So getting the opportunity to write one was just phenomenal. It's always been a difficult thing with Norse lore, because there's no real timeline. So it was kind of like taking pieces and trying to piece it all together to make sense, which it now does, and can kind of tell the story of exactly what happened to kind of build up to the big war, the Ragnarok. And sorry, I do apologize, because I've been filming, so I got green screen in the background and the tripod. So I actually played Thor in this. So a lot of the time, and Valhalla can attest to this too, but when I get in the mindset, I kind of stay in there. So it's been difficult to quickly jump out of the rage and anger to quickly get on here and talk. But no, but to come back to your question, I got more and more ideas by actually watching YouTubes and kind of listening to people about how they write their scripts, and then continued on to keep pushing. And I think I'd actually sent in to get it reviewed within Hollywood, and it was obviously a no, but they'd sent me a passable option. So it was kind of nice, where I could kind of say, okay, I can build up from this rather than quit it completely.
Right. Awesome. We've got a question for you directly from @DreamerWeave. Magnus, how have you stayed positive in the process of getting this off the ground?
That's an interesting question. Staying positive is just by seeing how big this is going to be. As Chris mentioned earlier, it really is going to be big. And I hit a point sort of in the very beginning where I was like, oh, no, there's no way. But over time, I can't remember exactly when, but it suddenly hit. And I was just like, that's it. This is it. There's no turning back now. And it's the idea is phenomenal. The direction and now the cast that we have, and Chris alongside is an awesome partner. That's the positivity, and that's the direction, and it's all come together. So to answer the question properly, once everything pieces together is when you can really feel that positivity coming out. Otherwise, it's pretty much up to you in the beginning, and stay strong. If that's something you're trying to do, stay strong with it, keep committing, reach out to the right people, and you'll have the success that you want.
Definitely. I'd like to add on to that one. Yeah. So ask questions. That's a huge thing. I didn't realize how many contacts I had that was in this industry until I became a partner with Chris and that. And I was like, wait, I need to ask questions, because I'm sure there's somebody out there, and you'll be surprised at how many people you had no idea was in the industry unless you ask a question. Just like they told us in the military, there's only one stupid question, and that is the one that's not asked. So ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to just put yourself out there. Have some love and some confidence in yourself, because I mean, we all have it. It's there. If you don't, then somebody's gotten into here and changed it. Don't let people get in there. That's your place. So be a strong warrior like you all are.
And even if you feel like that question is a dumb question, and inside your head you're saying, I shouldn't ask this because it'll be stupid, there's someone else in that room that wants to ask that same question.
Right.
And you might be helping that person out because they're very shy and you're boisterous, or vice versa, and get that question out there. And you might get an answer you want, or you might get told this is a dumb question. But either way, you're going to get an answer. And the only way you don't get an answer is if you don't ask. So
I would rather be told that it was a dumb question, to be honest.
Yeah.
That way, at least I know. Yeah, exactly.
You tried. You took that shot and you got kicked in the face. It's okay. You learned, and it took 6 minutes out of the briefing.
Yeah. There is a time and a place for questions, though. Make sure you're doing that proper.
Yes, definitely. We got another question in the chat I believe it's for you, Valhalla, at Battleborn Coach 99. what was the biggest challenge you faced while transitioning from military service to working in the entertainment industry now?
Well, I tell you, there's honestly not a whole lot of difference. And I was just kind of joking about that earlier. It's almost like being in the military again. You're hurrying up and wait, and to be honest, as a warrior, as a soldier or a Marine or whatever you were or are, um, it's essentially the same thing. You're willing to put yourself out there, put yourself, in a place that you're maybe not that comfortable with, but you're going to go out there and you're going to give it everything you got and maintain your honor and integrity and all of that stuff. You don't want to lose those. And your confidence. Confidence is huge, I know, and sometimes it could be swayed by, maybe you did ask a dumb question, but to you it wasn't. But you got an answer, right? So sometimes your your confidence can be swayed in that way. But if you just remember deep down, you're a warrior. So it doesn't matter what's said, that's not gonna hurt you. So what? So they laughed at me. Okay, just keep driving on because somebody's not gonna laugh. Somebody's gonna say, "Oh hell." And then you're gonna say, "Yeah, that's all it was," and you'd be sitting back drinking your whatever the hell you drink, So that's just keep that in mind when you're moving forward with the transition. And really though, like there is a big problem with I've been fighting with PTSD for a long time and extreme depression and anxiety and it is a struggle, but everybody's different, but you want to always talk to somebody. Mine ended up being my wife, my second wife. My first one, I lost that from the military. It happens. And PTSD kind of put an end to that. But you got to look past all of that and say that, well, it must have happened for a reason. And it did in my case. I met an absolute angel and married her, and she was able to help me get through some things, and really without words. All it would take is a hug from her or a smile. And then I recognized the certain things that would start a trigger that, oh crap, I'm getting ready to start, this is getting bad, I'm tunneling in, oh shit. So I would figure out ways to back myself out of that, when I start having like a PTSD trigger or something like that. There is a lot to it. I've been asked by I kind of make jokes, my psychiatrist that I was seeing at the VA, I said, I was so bad I made him quit. Well, he did quit, but it wasn't because of me. But no, they were actually asking me how I was able to go through this stuff without medication, because they had tried so many different medicines and it just didn't work. I just didn't like them. It didn't sit with me well. It didn't help me out, and I just started using mind over matter. That's what I kept hearing in my head. In the military, in the army, they were teaching us, mind over matter, and I kept preaching that to myself. And your brain is so powerful. And if you just look at yourself and say, hey, I got to recognize these certain key triggers. And once you know that, man, for me, it worked. And, but yeah, just definitely have a network of people that can help you out because the transition is tough. My partner, Chris, he's real big on this as well. But yeah, it's definitely a tough, I can't even talk tonight. I apologize. A tough transition.
It's because that time change, that 1 hour time change.
That's what it is.
Can't speak now.
That's what it is.
It's killing
my
people.
Brain is an hour ahead, like now, but my mouth and vice versa. Anyway,
100%. When I first started this show, it was to stop the 22, the 22 a day stuff we're seeing, and to get veterans to come on, tell their story, get that pressure off their chest, and maybe they'll stay with us a little longer. My form of, I guess, mental health therapy for them to get them to speak and get that out of there. And then they reached back and said, how do I do other things? How do I be an entrepreneur? How do I write a book? And how do I get to Hollywood? I said, well, I have no idea how to get to Hollywood, but I do know a guy, and a Navy veteran, Hermie Castillo. I had him on. He was on NCIS and a few other shows. He came on and gave that story of how to get into Hollywood and the fight it takes to get into those shows out there. And that helped a lot. And I think you two doing this here and being on TikTok, which is a great platform with a lot of veterans on there, a lot of law enforcement on there, you can grab a lot of those guys and gals that want to be in the industry and probably weed out the ones you don't want and grab the pick of the cream of the crop for your show.
Yeah, we've been doing that. Yeah, we've made it a point to get as many vets on the show as we can.
That's outstanding. And do you have when you're on TikTok, do you guys do lives together?
Yeah. Yeah, we were doing it. I got extremely busy. He had to move, so we both got really really busy at this almost exact same time. So we hadn't done it for a little bit, but we'd go on and do a Friday show about Echoes of Asgard together, and then we would do a Saturday battle, and then we just battle each other and talk about the show and talk about anything that pops up. So it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. I got two more questions just popped up again. This one actually says 22 no mo, so it's kind of weird that I just said that and they said that. So at 22 no mo, Chris, do you find that your experiences as a gubernatorial candidate help you with your storytelling and leadership roles in Echoes of Asgard?
That's a freaking amazing question as well. Here's the thing: I have never been a public speaker. I just never have done it. And when I first started doing it, I was so scared. I was nervous as hell. I'm not gonna lie. I'm standing in front of, at first it was, 500-600 people, and then it got to the thousands. Not all the time, but quite often, once a week. And then all the rest of the time, 20-30 people. But even then, I much rather would speak in front of 2,000 people than 20 or 10. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I think that it does bring it a little bit, because I did learn a lot. And when I ran for governor, about speaking and getting out what I need to get out, by using expressions other than and body language is the main thing. But the police department taught me a lot of that too, to how to read body language and how to push body language and etc. So I think a lot of my past has really went right in line with what we're doing right now, and that is to put something out there on a screen for many to see and hopefully grab a hold of as well, and get out of it what we got out of it and want them to get, and that is, just look into yourself. Your path, your journey is yours. We both happen to be very big on the Norse mythology. They call it mythology, but I don't like calling it mythology, but it is what it is right now. I think it does. It has helped. It really has, because it made me more confident. I guess would be the best way to put that. It did make me a lot more confident in looking at a camera or looking at people and putting out what needs to be put out, or put out the message. So that's probably the best way I could say it, I guess.
All right. And Magnus, you said you were just in role behind you with the green screen back there, being Thor. How hard is the transition to go from character to getting in front of this and just taking that deep breath and just being yourself?
Every day is different. So I'm also a veteran too. I never started that with that. But yeah, I was in the Navy myself, and I did a bunch of different things outside of being on board a ship. And yeah, I ended up leaving with PTSD, actually pretty severe. Unfortunately, didn't recognize it as I left right when COVID was hitting. So I didn't even get the 22 days or however long it was to get out. They just said, here's your DD-214, see you later. So there were definitely challenges in the beginning, and I guess over time there are moments where if it's just been a bad day, I'll maybe just say, yeah, I'm not recording today, because it could go downhill really quickly. But the main aim is to stay composed, to focus on the objective and the goal at the end of the day, and that's really the best way to look at things. That way I can transition pretty easily from those moments. I've got a newborn on the way, so I obviously have to take care of the missus, as we're due at some point this month. So there are many jobs that need to go on outside of that can distract and need more attention than my anger and my own personal issues. So
great answer, and good luck and congratulations with the baby on the way this month. I'm sure hopefully you don't go gray as quickly as he has, but I think you'll hold out a little longer.
Well, you can have 6 kids real quick. I can tell you how to do that, Chris.
I'm already at 4.
So I know you're pretty close, but yeah, and I would like to talk about that a little bit too. The filming, with Odin, for me, it's real easy. I mean, and then it might not be for you, because I know we have a lot of listeners that you have come across that are trying to get into the business or maybe are in it. But as far as like with me, it's just, I don't know why it's easy, but it's real easy. Probably because I'm playing a part that is basically me anyway. Um, I'm always the one that is even in disciplining my children, I'm more of a, I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna teach you in a long lecture about how you shouldn't be, blow up and get it, angry or violent. I'll just sit down and talk with you about it, and so it works out pretty good. And then again, just being on social media in general, going live every day. For over a year straight, I was live every single day. I went to Miami to the red carpet event for TikTok. That the live fest, that was a lot of fun. So I went up pretty quick. I didn't get a ton of followers because you know they changed the algorithm, and so the ones, I'm at almost 40 something thousand. But I think it's just because if you go live, put yourself on a live platform, if you really want to train and get yourself used to it, the best way to do it is to go on and go live. Use TikTok. It's a great platform to practice on, and it's a lot of ad lib. Like, you just don't know exactly what you're going to say, but you just go on there and have fun with it. But it gets you ready, and it keeps you in that mindset of anytime a camera comes on. I used to have so much problem because I would come in my character Valhalla Viking. I talk like this. This is Valhalla Viking. I can talk like this for hours, and that's what used to happen. As soon as I would see a camera, that's exactly how my voice. Even if I was talking to my mom on FaceTime, "Hey, Mom, how you doing?" "Oh, Army, hi, Mom, how are you doing?" So it took a minute to get used to it, but now I can turn it on, turn it off, just snap of a finger, and with expressions and body language as well. So you just have to practice doing it, and it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, especially the lives. It'll teach you.
It's kind of what I've done with this, because I used to just do audio, and one of my guests said, "You need to go do video." And the first one was with him, so it was easy because I kind of already talked to him once, then talked to him with a video, and then now it's 200 something whatever live shows now that you just talking, and it's like if we were in a room together, it'd be a lot better. But we're kind of in a room together talking,
Yeah,
and
virtual.
learning more about you both of you, and your careers, and where you started, and like you talked about before, the waves of emotion you go through to make these projects and try to get that following, and you're building a brand as you're doing it as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of my big questions to myself and concerns was, so my brand is Valhalla Viking. That's what I've been for a year and a half, and gained a family. We have a thing called the V2 Kingdom, Valhalla Viking, 2 V's, V2 Kingdom. That is what all of us are. And it took a lot of time and blood, sweat, and tears, literally. I mean, to create a brand. And the only way you're going to create it, if anybody out there's watching and wonder, how do I create a brand? Stay consistent. I cannot. I am so sorry. Stay consistent. Stay with the program, and make a schedule, just like with you on the MisFitNation. You have to, if you were just willy-nilly, just once in a while you'll throw up a video, you probably won't get watched very often. But if you do it every day or whatever at the same time, you'll get a following. And a little bit about the V2 Kingdom: everybody's welcome, no matter what side of the aisle when it comes to politics. It doesn't matter. We don't talk about it. We don't care. Everybody has their constitutional right. And just like with anybody's thoughts and whatnot, you have your rights, but don't stomp on other people's. The moment you start stomping, that's when I get a little flustered. I'm going to say, hey, hold on now. But yeah, but we do stand on something. It's called we row with the V2 Kingdom. It's a real loud, almost obnoxious sounding, but I love it. It has a resonance to it. It's almost like doing cadence, right? So that's kind of what we do, but it stands for stop the hate, lead with love, be proud of each other. We are all equal. Defend yourself and each other with extreme ferocity. And that's what the row. Anytime you hear me or any of our family rowing, that's exactly what they're saying, and row for. But maybe before we end the show, I'll row for you guys. But
I'll lower my earphones for that one. So don't blow out some eardrums. You got the hearing issues.
Yeah, I lost my hearing. At least that's what my wife says. I don't know.
My wife tells me it all the time. Get hearing aids. I hear every day.
Yeah.
I said, speak louder. I don't need them.
Well, she told me to get hearing aids, and I go, what?
Okay.
Yeah.
Got one last question from the audience. Elephant9. How do you write the story or script for the story? Do you put yourself in the scenes as you write, or do you dive into the entire scene and write?
Yes. So the main thing is to properly understand each character. Otherwise, your story is going to go all over the place. And you, when you're writing it, you kind of have to put yourself in that character's shoes. So whichever particular scene it is, there's a lot. There's for me personally, for this series, it's more of the chaos around it. So what surrounds chaos is emotion, identity, culture. There's a lot mixed in, and the uniqueness of the characters as well. So Thor, as I say, for those guys that have watched Marvel, he's not that way. He's a pretty moody, stroppy kind of guy that you don't want to cross at all. Like, just he's probably not the guy to talk to at the bar, kind of thing.
He's kind of like a senior drill is what he is. He's a senior drill. There you go.
Yeah.
Layman's terms, thanks.
Yeah.
And so is showing the contrast between each of the characters. Odin is Thor's father as an example, and he's always sending Thor to war. It pisses a lot of people off, usually. So you can kind of get that frustration of, father's kind of sending me again, and there are different scenarios. So it really depends on what you're writing about, but so long as you concentrate on that, you can go far. And just make sure you keep rereading it as well. And I'll kind of add in the last little bit as well in regards to sort of getting into Hollywood and starting all of this out. Obviously, I've got, as an example, like the script itself, and just making sure you've got everything kind of laid out properly as you're going. It's called the Bible, is what they call it in Hollywood. So it's basically a breakdown of obviously your script, where you're trying to go, the breakdown of your characters, who they are, what they represent, and then kind of your budget, how much you're expecting it to cost, whether you've done a copyright on your script, whether you've done your Writers Guild certificate for your script. There's a lot that goes into it. So so long as you've at least just written it down or had it all lined out, it just gives you a good foundation to get started on and keep moving.
Also, when you're writing, I do this, Chris, you might do it too. Like, while I'm writing, I'm actually putting myself in the show. I've always had a really vivid imagination, like actually see it like a movie in my head. So that's what I do. I put myself in that position as that character while I'm writing it and see if it makes any kind of sense. And I'll play all kinds of different characters because it's whatever I'm writing. Sometimes, I might be Freya, but I just, you got to put yourself in those situations. That's how I do it. Chris, you nodded your head, so I assume you do it too. But that does help me to actually visualize it being on a television screen, or even being it there as a live play, if you want to call it that. It really helps me when you're writing. It helps those creative juices to kind of flow. Also, get with somebody that has a love for whatever it is you're doing. Make phone calls or make connections, or networking is what they call it. Get with people that have a similar mindset and maybe brainstorm. We brainstorm a lot. We come up with so many cool things just by, what they would call it when we were kids, make believe, right? But that's what we do in this industry. We're playing make believe. We're our case, we have some lore though that we're following, so we get to follow the lore. That's what makes it easier. But to add the, what do they call it, Hollywood bells and whistles, to make it fun, make it interesting, make it action packed, and then those are the perceptions and the creativity of the writing. That's where that comes into play. So it's a lot of fun to do it that way, to just put yourself in there, immerse yourself into it.
I know when I was writing my first fiction book, I kind of sat and made myself in the arena that I was writing. And I was writing about war, so I put myself back in it and trying to get the smells going in my head and listening to the noises and writing. And that helped me out a lot. It helped me push through a lot when I thought I had writer's block, but I really didn't, because I just wasn't putting myself in there. I was writing from outside looking in. Once I went inside writing out, it was much easier.
Way easier, yeah.
It sounds weird to say inside writing out, but it was way easier.
I love how you put that. That's like beautifully said. That's like perfect. Yeah.
And there's a question that came up, I think right after Christmas. People were complaining about people saying "Till Valhalla, brother," when they die, and they were saying you can't say it unless you were actually in Norse, in the Norse religion, or in part of that lifestyle. You can't say it. What are your opinions on that? As when most warriors now, when we lose a brother, they say "Till Valhalla." What do you think about that? Both of you.
If you're asking me, so you know what? Everybody, like I said earlier, everybody has their own path, their own journey. You have every right to say or do whatever the hell you want to say or do, as long as you're not stomping on other people's rights. And if you feel like you need and want to, and you resonate with "Till Valhalla," then by all means say it. Till Valhalla, damn it. If you want to say eat popcorn and whatever, whatever you want to say, it's your right. So in my eyes, yeah, do what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's down to an individual belief. If that's what you believe, I strongly believe that things have evolved just like every other religion. There are things written in the Bible that don't pertain to today's world. But everyone has a right to believe what they choose to believe in that. So yeah, I think it's a phenomenal idea. I think the idea of Valhalla and the idea of the word warrior, because we look at that and just simplify it by saying, oh yeah, it's when somebody was fighting with swords, and it's like, well, no, we got warriors who battle through a number of different situations in life. It doesn't have to be with swords and shields and spears and axes, or even any weapons at all. So yeah, I think so.
A lot of our battles are fought within our minds. And I mentioned earlier, your brain is the most powerful thing in the entire galaxy. It is very powerful. So, if we want to even say a weapon, your mind is a weapon. So we're all in a battle. And you can even go a little bit deeper and say social media. Social media, you're battling, what we call trolls, people that don't like you and want to make fun of you, keyboard warriors. You're at battle just about every day, especially when you start putting yourself out there. So who's to say what battle is worthy? I'm not a god. I can't tell you. I'm not Odin. I play Odin on TV, but I'm not Odin. So I can't say you can't go to Valhalla. You can't go where they're, it doesn't matter. And that's what I try to tell everybody too. If they get into that mode where they want to tell me what I can and can't do, I say, you know what? Last I looked, you don't look like a god to me. So I'm not going to listen to you. Thanks for your opinion though.
Outstanding. Oh yeah. And what's the best way to help you guys, or to get in contact with you guys, if maybe someone else wants you on their show to give you more exposure and get you out there?
You'll go for it, Chris? All the
go ahead. No, go ahead. It's your, yeah.
Say right now, we're just, like I said, we got together. I'm writing the scripts for the light version, getting out the stuff while we're working behind the scenes on the big show. Any kind of help, positivity, bringing it out. We're going. We didn't really talk a whole lot about the show because, man, we're a bunch of soldiers in here. Well, I'm a soldier, and anyway. We're all vet, but yeah, so we are going in deep into Norse mythology. I'm a Norse pagan. I was a Christian for many years, and that's my path. And I respect anybody's path that anybody's on. I don't care what it is. If it makes you feel good inside, then apparently you're doing what you need right now. So that's how I look at that. But as far as the show goes, we are going to go way deep into it. So there's going to be a lot of the questions that I think will be coming up, or are there that just haven't been asked yet. This show's actually going to put it out there. You're going to see it. So the best way to get a hold of us is to get onto social media, or you can go to my website. Mine is up right now and functioning, and that is Valhalla Viking v2k.com. Even if you're a vet and you want to be a part of the show, or if you just want to be part of the show, you don't have to be a vet, but we're definitely looking for the vets first, if at all possible. There's a link on there. You can click on it if you want to be a part of the show in any way, shape, or form. If we can find a place for you and you work, we're going to do it. Also, if you want to, spread the word, that's by all means, do it. Talk it up. It's going to be a fun experience. We're not going to stop with I don't want to say a whole lot, but because we have a lot going on we don't want to get robbed. But we're not going to stop just at Norse mythology. There's a lot. This is a very complex animal, and it's not going to be just one series. I'll tell you that right now. And that's why they call it a movement. It's huge. So that would be a huge help, is just talk it up. And if you are well off and you want to help us out in the financial matters, there's the email on the website as well. Get a hold of us. We welcome any advice. We welcome really any help. If you know the business and maybe know somebody that might be really into the Norse mythology or production teams or whatever, get a hold of us. We will talk to anyone.
Awesome. Let's get them on your shows, guys. I know you guys have shows out there. I think you already been on Willis's show before.
Yep.
So he sent you my way, but we have a whole bunch of other brothers and a few sisters that have shows that can probably help you even get that expanse out there a little further. Your network grows. Anything we can do to help you, we'll do that for you.
Well, Willis's show is awesome too. Yours is great. I would not tell a brother or sister no. So if you guys are doing shows out there and want to get us on there, I guarantee you, my partner, he's thinking the exact same thing. Get a hold of us, and we'll definitely come on and say hi and break some bread.
Outstanding. And one last thing before I let you guys go, we always ask our guests right before you leave, 3 things you do every day that make you successful, that our audience can start tomorrow to make them successful. What are they? Whichever wants to start.
I'm giving him a chance. I usually talk. I'm a talker.
I'm still thinking about it.
Okay. So what I do every day is I honestly, when I walk by to go, use the latrine in the morning, I look in that mirror and I say, you know what? You're a handsome son of a bitch. You got to tell yourself stuff like that, because sometimes maybe you don't get told that, and maybe you don't even think that, but it doesn't matter what you look like, what you feel like. You've got to know that you're a handsome son of a bitch, or a beautiful son of a bitch, whatever you want to call yourself. You are, okay. And then you're worth it. You're amazing. All of us are amazing. We all have our, strengths, we all have our weaknesses, and together as a team we fill all the gaps right there with, and I love teamwork, and I think that's what I was so turned on about with Chris asking me to be his partner with Echoes of Asgard is, one person can do great, but you start adding more to it, my goodness, you will have so much success. And that's what we all need to remember, is don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask for help, which I used to be bad at. And that's the other thing. First, I told myself I'm a handsome son of a bitch. And I tell myself, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because that's something I never would do, is I would never ask for help, ever, because I felt like I was weak if I asked for help. Now, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing, that's incorrect thinking. You should always ask for help. Maybe I would have less aches and pains if I would ask for help for other things. It's just the way it goes, but asking for help. And then, just stay on your path. That is a crucial thing for me anyway, is staying on my path of whatever it is for you. If this is one that you want to try to do, stay on your path, do it. Because for me, it has made me feel so much better about myself. It's made me feel like I had more meaning, more to look forward to, and just more value, to my life in general. So those 3 things are my big things that I do. And then I have another one, and that is to love if you have a significant other, love that person with everything you got, just like you love yourself and your kids, because they need to know that they have a good foundation that's building them, giving them a set of tools to become an adult if they're children, and to show that your significant other that they mean something to you as well, because communication is key, right? That's what they always taught us. So make sure you talk. Don't be afraid to talk. And the last thing, there's 5 things. Sorry. I'm a dude. I'm very manly. I'll tell you this right now. I mean, you can't really tell. I just have the manly beard. I'm still pretty manly. Don't be afraid to cry. I always say, let that poison out. I do it. Don't go around Walmart and just start boohooing, because people are gonna look at you funny. Okay. I mean, I would do it just to see what happens, but no, just, go into a private place and just let it out. Let it the hell out, because you know what? It makes me feel better. It does. Because there's a lot that we try to hold in, and especially because we're guys, right? If I'm talking to a gentleman right now that may be listening, just because we're guys doesn't mean we don't have emotions, don't have feelings, and don't get hurt emotionally. So that's one thing I'm big on, is if you gotta let out the pain, let it out. So, those are my things.
All right, now time to think. What we got?
Yeah. All right. I do try and eat healthy. Eating properly has always been a big one for me, and especially when the PTSD did hit really hard. It's important to get the right nutrients in your body, because this is powerful and you need it more than anything. The other thing, communication with the spouse. So we actually spend like an hour. And we always make sure we do it every night, a good solid hour, maybe a little bit more, to just get good communication, get a plan in motion of what we're doing for the week, the next day, and just seeing how each other are. It's important. Life can be stressful. It can get in the way of a lot of dreams and goals for each other. And that's when things can get nasty and spicy, when you're not properly communicating. And final thing, being with my kids. Honestly, I love my kids. I love being around them. I love anything, even if they're screaming in my ear. It's fine, because you never know when you're not going to get that opportunity again.
Yeah.
And that's the reality for me, and always has been. So I do focus on that, and it gets me through.
As you said earlier, they sooner or later they hit the bricks. They go out and they're on their own, and you're gonna long for that, the yelling in your house, or them coming up and say, "How do I do this?" Not when they come out and say, "Hey, I need your help with monetary to help fix this," when they're older. But it's still gonna happen. You're gonna get that anyway. But those are great things. Also, your 3 and his 5, great bits of advice for today. And guys, thank you for jumping on this late at night and hanging out with the Misfit Nation and passing on the Echoes of Asgard to the audience. And hopefully some of them will jump in and become part of the project.
Well, thank you for having us. And I would like Chris to be able to say something real quick. That way I can end on the row.
Yeah. No, thank you ever so much, Rich. You got an awesome setup here, and thank you for all the wonderful questions from everybody. Really appreciate that. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to either one of us, and we'll be happy to assist.
Awesome. If they come in, I'll email both of you, send them to you guys, and that way you can give them firsthand answers.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And I want to appreciate you bringing us on and letting us be part of the family here at the Misfit Nation. And it's been a pleasure.
Outstanding. And let you go with your row.
All right. Remember, guys, when we row, it stands for stop the hate, lead with love, be proud of each other. We're all damn equal. And remember, defend yourself and each other with extreme ferocity. And each time you hear this row, you know exactly what it means now, right? So here we go. Let's row together. Hold on. Oh, I got a little excited here. Okay. Row, 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 row to Valhalla.
Outstanding. Thank you, fellas. Have a great night, and I look forward to seeing this series when it comes out.
All right. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus,
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation